Ito na naman tayo sa ating eskwelahan na tinatawag nating Online Kamalayan Lifelong Learning Center. Pumiyok pa tayo. At Online Kamalayan Lifelong Learning Center. At ako po ay naririto makakasama ninyo hanggang after 1 hour, no? Kasi alright, ang original class natin would start at 5 o'clock Manila time, Philippine time, in the afternoon. So kung saan ay tatapos tayo ng 6 o'clock. So wherever you are in the world, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here in Manila. Ako po si Tato Malay na magiging inyong guro. At samahan niyo ako at bigyan niyo muna ako ng magandang feedback kung ano lang nangyayari sa akin dito. Kung ako'y nadidinig ninyo na maayos sa aking ano tawag dito, ginagawa rito. Kung meron akong palpak, bigyan niyo ako ng ano. Kung hindi pa ninyo ako napapanood, well, ano ba, 1 minuto na ako rito. I still don't see any name yet. So I'm not sure whether I am already ano tawag dito, on air or kumbaga nasa ano na. Okay, yun, nandun na tayo. Alright, so ang tanong dyan is, may audio ba tayo? Naririnig ba ninyo ako? Meron ba akong audio? Kung sino man ang nakakarinig ngayon? Sana ay bigyan nyo ako. Oy, si Lina, pinsan ko ito, nakatira ito sa Davao. Meron ba akong audio? Maganda? Nadidinig nyo ako? Naku, baka mamaya wala na naman tayong audio. Ito na naman tayo. So, okay. Lina, bigyan mo ako ng feedback kung meron akong audio dyan sa inyong kwan. Alright, anyway, I can find out here. So, let me just, bakit wala pa sa aking, sa aking page? Wala pa. Ayos wala. Okay, tingnan natin, ano ba nangyayari sa ating kwan dito? Alright, pasensya na, give me time. Sabay, I started early. So, wala pa ako sa sa aking Facebook wall mismo. Pero kanina, meron na it's already there. Kaya lang, parang bakit wala akong feedback on my sound. So, bigyan nyo ako ng magandang ano tawag dito? Yun. I'm on air. Alright, so ang tanong ko is, may audio ba ako? Wala. Naridinig nyo ako? Okay, ano ba? So, yan. Wala akong audio. Hello? Oh, Maris, hello. Maganda ba? May sound ba ako? May boses ba ako? I mean, I want to know. Give me some feedback. Because, yes, okay. You can hear me loud and clear. So, no problem. Is that okay? I mean, is that a go signal from you? Okay. Maris, give me another yes if it is okay, para I can now continue and proceed with our class. Alright, so para wala na akong problemahin dito. Okay. So ito na. Ito na, sandali lang I will just now, yun. Ayun. Okay, maganda naman ang sound ko. Alright, so I can hear you. Okay, you can hear me. Alright, now the thing here is I am just going to share this with my other wall para lang tuloy-tuloy na tayo, para makasama sila sa ating klase. Kasi ano tayo ano tawag dito, tawag doon sa online tayo. So basically, we are not together in a class face-to-face. So kailangan I get to actually put my video where you are right now. No? So I'm just sharing this to some walls na para maganda ang ating magiging ano ngayon. Okay. So, alright. So, sandali lang 2 minutes. Malapit na tayo matapos. At after 2 minutes, o after 1 minute na lang, yun na. Ayun na. Okay. Ayun na. Okay. Pag nakawala pa kayo rito, ang dami kong walls na nagla-live ako Alright. So, yan. Okay. Alright. So, very good, very good. Okay. Thank you. So, si Maurice is already here. Ano pa? Sino pa nandito? Ano pa? Who are with me now? Naku, wala pa. Alright, anyway. So, today, as I promised, I will talk about a very interesting topic that is now really being observed or experienced by everyone all over the world. The main question, which I got from my colleagues from my former record company, from Sony Music, because I saw a question posted in our wall, and that question was, why are we where we are now? Why are we where we are now? Sa Tagalog, bakit tayo nandito ngayon sa kinalalagyan natin? Ano ibig sabihin nito? Why is it that we are now experiencing this thing? Why are we alive in this particular time? Yan ang tanong na malaki. At bakit? Sa lahat ng panahon ay bakit ngayon pa? Umpisa yung taon ang ganda-ganda ng umpisa ng New Year nung pagdating ng February biglang binulabog tayo. And from that time on, from March up to now, we are already living differently. Alright, so why are we now where we are? Or why are we where we are now? Yan ang magandang tanong. Ang sagot, napakasimple lang. But it would require a lot of answers. Actually, the answer is just one phrase. Pero ang explanation ko dito would be something like siguro 12 times or 12 meetings natin pag-uusapan ito dahil mahaba-haba ang usapan ito. Hindi naman siguro. Pwede iksian. Alright. So, ang tanong is, where are we right now? Why are we here? The answer is, walang nakasagot, walang nakakaalam. Wala. Nobody actually knows exactly the answer. So, the answer is because we are all asleep. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Tayo ay natutulog. Tayo ay tulog up to now. Hindi pa tayo nagigising. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Ano ibig sabihin ng natutulog tayo? Ano ibig sabihin ng dapat tayo ay magising na? Yes, that is basically the problem now. We are all asleep. And since we are all asleep, we don't know exactly why it happened. So, ito yung nangyaring sa atin. Ang tawag dito, hindi maganda. Or, for that matter, hindi ako na-shock. Why? Because I had been telling this in a lot of my videos. Because I anticipated this. I actually knew it was coming. Because I was one of those na hindi tulog. Yan. Isa ako dun sa mga gising when it happened. And kailan ako nagising? Mga 20 years ago. Nung naumpisa ako magising, doon ko na-realize na, kailangan gisingin ko na rin ang aking mga kababayan, ang aking mga kaibigan, mga kamag-anak. Eh, kaya lang, ginigising ko nga for the past 20 years. Actually, well, not exactly 20 years, 14 years. Kasi I started writing it in my book on 2016. I'm sorry, 2006 rather. On 2006, I wrote in my book that everything would end in terms of not the end of the world, but the end of whatever we're doing, the end of institutions, the end of companies, the end of whatever there is, establishments. Kung ano yung mga activities natin, it will come to a halt. Bakit? Bakit ko nalaman yon? Because there is a change that is going to happen. And that happened na nga early on. Actually, 2012 pa nangyari na yung change na yun eh. And so slowly actually being felt. Yung 2012, di ba, pinredict noon end of the world yun. Actually, it was the start of that particular change. It wasn't the end of the world. It was the start of the end of a lot of things. Why? Ano nangyayari? Marami tayo kasing ginagawa na hindi nga dapat ginagawa dahil nasisira natin ang kalikasan, nasisira natin ang nature, environment. So, it wasn't healthy for us to continue what we were doing. Okay? So, ang tanong dyan is, ano ang gagawin natin? Tato, wala yung sound. May diferensya yata. Tanong mo na, bakit si Luisa, si Marie, sabi niya, may sound. Yes. And si Lisa, wala raw sound. Ano? Give me again another feedback. Ang haba na sinasabi ko rito. Okay, so Rupert, Simon, Rob, anak ni Ellen. Ako ba nadidinig niyo ako? Dr. Arlie is also watching. Can you hear me? Bakit si Lina o si Lina ay walang sound? Oh, sabi naman nila meron ako. Sabi ni Baris, meron. And I'm sure meron kasi nadidinig ko na yung sarili ko sa ano eh. Dito nga, nadidinig ko sarili ko. Ayan, oh. Ayan. Ayan. Medyo mahina lang nga siya, not like my usual. Hindi ko alam kung paano ko palalakasin dito. I'm using a laptop now for the first time kasi last Tuesday ginamit ko ito pero hindi umandar yung microphone. So I had it checked and then finally napaandar ko naman siya. And I'd like to thank again my good friend Hil Sabado for giving me this laptop, that I am able to use. That's why I actually was fortunate to be given a laptop because meron na tayo, ang Kamalayan, meron na tayong website and I had to do a lot of things sa website. Kailangan natin mailagay doon and I cannot do it pag wala akong laptop. So, pinadalan ako ni Hil ng kanyang laptop to me so that I can use it. No? So, ito na yun. So, ito na. Definitely, I am being heard. So, ito, natitinig ko sarili ko. No? Lina, I don't know kung ano yung differential sa'yo. Alright. So, ang tanong ngayon dyan is, to continue with what I'm saying, yun na nga, marami tayong ginawa na hindi na dapat. And somehow, nagbago ang kamalayan ng Earth. In 2012, the consciousness of Earth, which was 3D, shifted to 4D, and then immediately to 5D. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Third dimension tayo dati. Third dimension was basically where that was where separation was. Andyan ang duality, polarity, and everything. No? Andyan ang suffering, andyan ang cause. But the Earth shifted. Andyan na yung pagbabago. Na kung saan ay nandyan na ang harmony, nandyan na yung beauty, nandyan na yung everything that's wonderful in our world is there. Ang tanong is, hindi pa tayo nakakasabay. Bakit tayo hindi nakakasabay? Yun na nga tulog pa kasi tayo. Kaya ngayon, ginigising ko na kayo dahil nga nagbago na nga ang consciousness ng Earth from 3D, kailangan tayo rin from 3D, mag 4D na tayo and 5D eventually. So dapat sa fourth dimension na tayo. And fourth dimension, that's where love is, harmony, peace, understanding. Kaya nga, ang sinasabi nga doon sa Age of Aquarius, di ba yung kanta, harmony and understanding, peace and love and peace and love or whatever. Peace and love and understanding, harmony and unity, whatever. You know, lyrics doon. So if you know the song, yung Age of Aquarius, yung Aquarius by kinanta ito sa isang musical called Hair. And then it became may kinover ito ng the fifth dimension. Kita niyo, ang pangalan pa mismo ng grupo, this singing group who sang the song of Aquarius was called Fifth Dimension. And so, ito na nga kailangan mag-shift to fifth dimension tayo. 4D fifth. Yan. Alright, so kung may question kayo, just let me know your question so I can actually ano to, headset use a microphone? I'm using a microphone. Okay, sound but weak. Okay. I don't know. Siguro I have to now, I just have to siguro, put my voice, mute my voice on a, talaga. Mas malakas na bagay. Okay. Pero, sige. Okay. Anyway, so I cannot anymore do anything because if I do something here, baka bigla mawala pa ang boses ko. Ayoko naman. So, tuloy-tuloy na lang tayo. I know I can be heard. Yes, to love, joy, peace, power, health, and prosperity. Yan ang sabi ni Dr. Arlie. Okay. Alright. So, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is what are we supposed to be doing now? We're supposed to wake up. Kailangan tayo magising. Kailangan tayo magkaroon ng bagong pangunawa. Bagong kamalayan, bagong pangunawa. At ito ang pag-uusapan natin sa hapon na ito. Ang ating importanteng maalaman ay ganito. What are the characteristics of an awakened species? Yan ang tanong. What are the characteristics of an awakened species? Sa totoo lang, alam nyo, among all the planets, among all the beings, extraterrestrials, or kumbaga yung mga nakaiba sa ibang planeta, ang mga tao na nabubuhay dito sa mundo natin, sa Earth, tayo ang pinakabago, pinakabata, pinaka-youngest, the youngest among all the tawag dito, youngest among the brotherhood of ETs. Kung ganun man. Why do I know? Well, sabi ko nga, saan pa ba ako kukuha ng impormasyon ngayon? And everybody is at a loss. Kumbaga, ang problema ngayon ay lahat na ng nangyayaring lahat ng mundo ay nakararanas ng parehong nararanasan natin dito sa Pilipinas. And they don't know why it is happening and what is going on. And so I had to turn to other things, for that matter, to find out what is really going on. And somehow, I was able to find some answers. At ano itong mga answers na nakuha ko? Saan galing ito? From God? Bakit sabihin niyo, kinakausap ba ako ng Diyos? Siyempre naman, lahat tayo kinakausap ng Diyos. Ang tanong is, marunong ba kayong makinig? At marunong ba kayong makipag-usap sa Diyos? Ayan. Basta lahat tayo kinakausap ng Diyos dahil anak tayo ng Diyos. Pati nga yung mga ibang ET, mga extraterrestrials. Kasi, di ba, God made the universe. God made everything. So, kung meron man, ano man yung mga nakatira sa ibang planeta, ang Diyos din ang nag-create sa kanila. So, we are only uh, I mean, we only have one God. So that same God speaks to all. That same God is present to all planets. Ha? Pare-pareho ang mundo natin. Dito lang nga sa mundo natin, iba-iba ang Diyos eh. Bawat relihiyon may sariling Diyos eh. Ayaw nila maniwala sa Diyos ng ibang relihiyon. Hindi raw ganun ang Diyos nila. Ewan ko kung bakit nagkaroon ng maraming Diyos dito sa Pilipinas. Alam ko maraming Diyos sa India lang eh. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, marami rin Diyos. Anyway, so, yan. Okay, so, tingnan natin kung may mga, ayan, I'd like to thank also some people who are watching, si Veronica Garcia and Ronnie Del Barrio. Okay, ngayon dito sa phone ko na ito, nababasa ko yung mga nagla-like. Doon sa isang phone ko kasi, hindi ko nababasa. But anyway, alright, so, to continue, I'm sure, okay naman ako, no? Okay na yung sound ko. Ang tanong nga ngayon is, ano ang kailangan natin maging to be able now to start something wonderful? Kasi tumigil nga tayo eh. And we are supposed to create a new world. And what is that world that we are creating? Well, this is something that we are now going to talk about. Kasi nobody is really heading it. There's no leader, there's no president who's going to lead us to create a new world. Kanya-kanya tayo at this point in time. Kaya lang nga, ang sabi ko nga, lahat tutulog pa. Even the presidents, the leaders that we have, that we know of, they're still sleeping. They're asleep. They don't know exactly what is going on. All right. Ano ba ang kailangan natin pag-usapan pag sabi mong kailangan tayo magising? Ha? Ano ba ang ginigising natin? Sige. Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, dito sa ating ginagawang talakayan na ito ay medyo mawiwirduhan kayo kasi sabihin nyo, ano ba mga pinagsasabi ni Tato? Saan ba galing yung mga pinagsasabi niya? Ako nga, sabi ko nga, with my Kamalayan, with the studies I did on consciousness, I came up with a lot of lessons that I learned, not only from the present books that I get to read, that are available in bookstores, pero, yun na nga, meron akong mga narinig na mga paliwanag sa nangyayari ngayon. And from whom? Well, I don't know if you believe in channels or channeling. Somehow, I actually researched on that matter as well. And I got some answers, some good answers. Ano pa? Marami akong nakuhang mga ideas o mga kaalaman from extraterrestrials who actually are also channeling. Ayun, kung ayaw nyo maniwala sa mga ganyang klaseng research, well, no problem. I will not force you. But, ang naging ko kasi rito, maganda kasi yung mga lessons na nakuha ko. And they're practical. And they're sound in terms of, well, maganda. And they're the best answers that I can find when I ask those questions that I'm asking now. And so sabi ko, bakit ko hindi isi-share sa inyo ang mga nakuha ko mga kuwan? And one of them is from the book of Conversations with God, Book 4 by Neil Donald Walsh. And Neil Donald Walsh, the fourth book that he wrote, which was actually channeled to him by God, talked about what? Talked about awakening the species. Exactly. And this book was released, I think, 4 years ago. And somehow, ito na nga, sinasabi nga namin, kailangan gisingin ang mga tulog. Gisingin ang mga nagtutulog-tulugan. At gisingin yung mga, yung mga, may anong tawag doon, yung mga, anong tawag doon sa pag matagal matulog yung mga mantika. Yung matagal na magising. Anyway, so, ito. Alright. So, basically, we can now see some answers. And then, uh, ang maganda rito is, why are we not able to learn about these things? Because, yun na nga, ayaw tanggapin ito sa ating mga eskwelahan dahil wala raw basis. So, ang tanong dyan is, how can we now promote this? Well, I'm doing my share, and I hope some people will also share what I am sharing now. So, para maraming makaalam. Okay. So, ang tanong nga is, what are the characteristics of people who are awakened? Basically, not only people, but other beings as well. Ito yung mga sinasabi na natin mga ano tawag dito? Mga extraterrestrials in other planets. And they are living a higher level of consciousness. And they are called higher evolved beings, HEBs. In the Conversations with God books, ang sabi palagi dito is, we are supposed to evolve into a higher, we are supposed to be higher evolved beings. Maging HEB tayo. Alright, so anyway. So, ang tanong is, okay, what are we supposed to really now learn in terms of the characteristics? I will read, ito pasakali lang ito. I will go into details in the future. Pero I will try to read as early as now all the 16 characteristics para you can get an idea. Now, if you cannot understand what it means, I will talk about it more. No, I mean I will discuss it later on. So, ito na nga yung characteristics of awakened species, of an awakened species, or higher evolved beings. Number 1, an awakened species sees the unity of all life and lives into it. Humans in an awakened state often deny it or ignore it. Okay, ano ibig sabihin ng an awakened species sees the unity of all life and lives into it. Humans in an awakened state often deny it or ignore it. We are all one. Yun lang ibig sabihin nito. Everything is, all of us are interconnected. From other human beings, with the environment, with animals, with plants, with God. We are all connected. We are one. Yan ang sinasabi dito. The unity of all life. That is one of the characteristics. That is one characteristic of a highly evolved being, an awakened species. So, anong dapat natin gawin? We have to realize that there's no separation. Ano ba ang separation? Kasi ang kinalakihan natin sa religion, lalo na, God is in heaven, in another planet, which is called heaven, up there in the skies. And we are down here on earth. Yun ang natutunan natin. And so, with that alone, nandun na yung separation. Alright? Jesus, in his, one of his talks, he actually discussed, this kingdom of God on earth, or heaven is here on earth, or God is at hand. The kingdom of God is at hand. And nung tinanong siya, where is it? Within. So, nasa atin. So, yun na yun. So, discuss na ni Jesus yan noon pa. Sa Bible lang, nakasulat yan. So, we have to be able to realize that we are not separated from God. We are one with God. So, if we're one with God, we are one with everything, with our friends, with our enemies, with our, even with strangers, no? People from other countries. All right. Uh, ang maganda nito is to give you an example. Like for example, in our body, we have different cells. Di ba marami tayong cells, billions of cells in our body. Yung mga maliliit na cells dyan na umiikot-ikot. And if, for example, something happens to our finger, kunyari, nasugatan tayo sa isang maliit na sugat lang, you know, without us being able to realize it, the other cells inside our body are doing something already inside to heal the wound. Dun sa isang finger, remember, we have a body, we have different fingers, we have 10 fingers, and each of them are connected. They're not separated. Yes, we can see, separated, but they're all connected. So that's how I can explain further, or how I can really simplify itong sinasabi nga nating separation. There's no separation. So yung mga cells, pag may nasugat na finger, maliit lang, pero the cells will be alarmed, and they will do something. They will create an action plan as to how to heal that particular wound. And somehow, they get together, they communicate with each other, na mga cells to. Isipin mo ba, may utak yan? Yun na nga eh. Doon natin malalaman. They have what we call consciousness as well. Kasi they can actually do things on their own. So, hindi tayo nag-command na, oy, ikaw cell na ito, kailangan pumunta ka rito para ma-heal ito. Wala tayong ginawang ganon. We did not order any cell to be able to heal that wound, that part of our body. The cells themselves inside, kumbaga, combined themselves as a force, and then, yun na nga, they actually healed that wound. So, yun. Alright. So, intindihan ba ninyo ang explanation ko? So, yun ang sasabi doon sa an awakened species sees the unity of all life and lives into it. Humans in an unawakened state often deny it or ignore it. Yun na nga eh. Tayo, we don't know that it is true. Or if you know that it's true, we still deny it or ignore it. And now, if you're an awakened species, if you're an awakened human being, we are now supposed to learn the fact that we are not separated. We are all connected. We are all one. All right. I just read something here. I just missed your morning reading. Anyway, I may also read your covers as I have a class. Okay. Si ano yun? Si Lim Suzanne. Si Lim Suzanne kasi usually participates in our class. I don't know ano yung klase niya ngayon. Meron daw siyang lecture, whatever. Anyway, so, to continue, we are now going to talk about the second one, the second characteristic. An awakened species tells the truth always. Humans in an awakened state too often lie to themselves as well as to others. All right. An awakened species tells the truth always. Walang white lie. Walang yellow lie. Walang blue lie. Whatever it is, palagi na sinasabi ang totoo. Ang tao, hindi. Okay, white lie. Papalusot. Kung makakalusot, pipilitin. Magsisinungaling. So, yan ang nagiging problema natin. Okay. Kaya tayo, ang tanong nga bakit daw, may nagtanong nga doon sa wall sa Sony Music, no? Bakit ganito ang klaseng buhay natin sa Pilipinas? Pati sa gobyerno, ganyan. Kasi nga, hindi tayo marunong magsabi ng totoo. Ha? A lot of times, we deny. We actually tell the opposite of what is supposed to be the truth. Ang dami tayong mga abogado na magagaling na kung saan ay pwede nila balibaligtarin ang katotohanan according to what they believe they want it to be. Kasi kung anong side sila doon sa kanilang profession, yun ang ipopromote nila, yun ang kakampihan nila. So, alam mo na kung minsan na guilty na sila, sasabihin pa rin nila hindi guilty. Just to prove that, there is justice in this world. That, kasi kapag dedepensa mo nga yung isang accused, kailangan hanggat hindi siya proven guilty, he's still innocent. And so, they will point out all the lies that they can come up with to prove that they did not do it, or whatever. Alright, so, diyan na tayo. Kaya tayo kakagulo. Kasi, we really don't know what is true. Because we don't really say the truth at all times. Alright, an awakened, number 3. An awakened species says one thing and will do what they say. Kumbaga may integrity. An awakened species says one thing and will do what they say. Humans in an awakened state often say one thing and do another. Di ba? Ganun kadalasan ang tao Walang isang salita. Meron silang sinabi pero iba yung ginagawa. Walang integridad. An awakened species, they say something, they say one thing, and they do it. Kaya, don't wonder kung tayo ay nagkakagulo because we are not an awakened species. Kung alam natin ito, yung mga ganitong klaseng mga bagay, nagtutulog-tulugan tayo. Hindi natin ginagawa dahil ba sinasabi natin, hindi naman totoo yan. Kaya kailangan lumusot pa rin paminsan-minsan. Doon nagsisimula ang corruption, doon nagsisimula ang mga pangako na nababali. Alright, number 4. An awakened species, having seen and acknowledged what is so, will always do what works. Humans in an awakened state often do the opposite. Alright, marami tayong mga paniniwala. Okay, I'll repeat first before I explain. An awakened species, having seen and acknowledged what is so, will always do what works. Humans in an unawakened state often do the opposite. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Alam na natin mali, alam na natin lumang paniniwala yan, nakagisnan, na hindi na nagiging relevant o hindi siya totoo talaga, at napatunayan na hindi totoo. Kaya lang nga, because it's part of our tradition, it's part of our culture, tinatanggap pa rin natin as if totoo. It doesn't work anymore. Pinipilit pa rin natin. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Marami tayong mga paniniwala na pinaniniwala natin dahil nakagisnan na natin, kinalakihan natin, or because pinaniwala natin talaga yung mga authorities na nagsabi sa atin ng mga ganung bagay. But now, since we are able to see that it is a truth, we cannot really now take it away from our system because para ba ang hirap. And that is how we are not able to unlearn many of the things we have learned because it's deeply ingrained sa atin. That's why ako maingay dito sa Kamalayan dahil ang dami-dami natin kailangan palitan ng mga paniniwala sa totoo lang. Okay, so number 5. An awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with the concepts that humans refer to as justice and punishment. Okay, maganda ito. An awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with the concepts that humans refer to as justice and punishment. May kasalanan kailangan parusahan. mali eh. Kailangan, anuhin yan, hulihin yan, at ano. Alright, ganun tayo, ano. We have that kind of, I would say, kung pagka-self-righteous pa nga in a way. Masama ba ito? Hindi. Well, in terms of, kasi nga, in the name of justice, we condemn. Because if proven guilty. Alright, sabi nga kahit sabihin mong patawarin yan, kasi nga hindi na talaga sinasadya, yun ang ginawa niya. Sino pa naman talagang nagsasadya na, kunyari, isang bagay na may pinatay siya dahil sa emotions niya. Magdala siya ng emotions. Kumbaga, wala sa sarili. So, hindi na siya nasa tamang pag-iisip at that particular time na wala sa sarili. So, ito yung tanong. Is he supposed to still be condemned or to be forgiven? So, sabi natin palagi, no, there's justice. And there is what we call punishment. And so, yun ang point. So, doon na nagkakaroon ng problema. Sa highly evolved beings, walang ganyan. Because walang forgiveness. I mean, what I mean saying. Like, if you remember my story about the prodigal son, nung umuwi yung anak, yung prodigal son, umuwi at dahil naghirap na siya, did the father actually condemn him? Did the father tell him na, oy, pag inulit mo to, palalayasin kita. Or kung gusto mong tumira dito sa bahay na to, kailangan sumunod ka sa aking mga utos. Walang sinabing ganon. Kumbaga, bumalik yung anak, winelcome, binigyan lahat, and somehow, parang there was nothing to forgive because there was nothing that was really done in terms of, although masakit yun una, nilayasan, kinuha yung pera, at para bang binaliwala ang pamilya, and so gano'n ang nangyari doon sa prodigal son. But then again, you can see here the kind of thinking that our God has. No? Ito yung pinangbabatayan ko sa aking mga napag-aralan na ito ang hindi na ituturo ng tama sa atin. Alright? Kaya nga, pag sinasabi ko, God does not forgive, ang dami na-offend. Sabi, bakit? Hindi mo ba nasasaktan ng Diyos? Hindi. Diyos nga yan eh. Bakit? Paano mo masasaktan ng Diyos? Kung nasaktan ko yan, hindi yan Diyos. Yan ang aking paniniwala. Sige, pilitin niyo yung mga lumang paniniwala niyo na dahil sa ating mga kasalanan, pinarurusahan tayo ng Diyos. Sige nga, paano ka nagkasala sa Diyos? Ayan ang tanong ko. Kung talagang, if you're all-powerful, kung ikaw nga lang na isang tao, ikaw ang all-powerful, may ginawang konting bagay against you, hindi ba babaliwalain? Hindi ka powerful, ibig sabihin, dahil nasaktan ka. Ayan. Yan ang kwan dito. That's why an awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with concepts that humans refer to as justice and punishment. Alright. Before I continue, I'd like to first find out kung ano na nangyayari sa aking mga kwan dito dahil wala ako nababasa sa aking laptop. So, dito maraming comments. Siguro, I'm listening. How do you enhance the awakening? Yan. Sabi ni Dr. Arlie, how do I enhance the awakening? Mamaya natin yan. Magandang question yan. I am going to answer that in a short while. That's why, ito nga, binabasa ko na ito, yung mga characteristics of what an awakened person is like. So this is how we are now going to awaken people to realize what they are actually believing. So ito na yun. Balikan natin ang aking binabasa rito kasi para hindi tayo mawala sa ating pinag-uusapan. Alright, number 6. Number 6 na tayo. Mabilis pa na tayo eh. Ha? Nasa ba tayo? Uy, mahaba pa. Number 6, an awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with the concept that humans refer to as insufficiency. Okay, maganda ito. An awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with its concept, with the concept that humans refer to as insufficiency. Insufficiency means may kulang. Palagi may kulang. Wala. Hindi sapat. Yan ang insufficient. So with highly evolved beings, there's no insufficiency. There's always plentiful, abundance, prosperity. Yan ang importanteng maintindihan natin. There's nothing that we are lacking. There's nothing that is insufficient in us. So if you're an awakened person, walang kulang sa'yo. Everything that you need, there, it is there for you. Yan ang kailangan natin maintindihan. Alright? I will go fast lang muna. If you have questions later on, you just ask me. You can actually text me later on as to which number you want to be answered. Number 7. An awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with the concept that humans refer to as ownership. An awakened species does not embrace a principle in its civilization that correlates with the concept that humans refer to as ownership. Hindi ba? Akin ito eh. Hindi mo pwedeng, wala ka lang kung dito. Wala kang party dito. Akin lahat to. Ayan. Di ba ganyan ang iba eh. Mga iba nagsishare. Yung iba, ganid. Ha? Sa kanila lang. Makasarili. Alright. But more than that explanation, ownership. How much can we really own? In terms of owning something, ownership. Ito nga eh. Yung kotse ba, parte ng katawan natin. Pakinggan nyo itong kotse. Kunyari ako may kotse. Yung kotse ko ba, parte yan ng katawan ko? Bakit? Bakit ko tinatanong yan? Eh kasi kunyari, nagda-drive ako, nabangga ang kotse. Normally, ang tao, baka tao, ang sasabihin, bakit mo ako binangga? Bakit ako? Hindi yung, bakit mo binangga ang kotse ko? Bakit mo ako binangga? So, sabihin yung kotse, naging part na ng katawan mo. Di ba? Ganun yun eh. Yung ownership eh. Yung talagang, ano naman eh. Kasi if you're an awakened, higher evolved being, binangga yung kotse mo, ay okay. Sige. Pag-usapan lang ng ano yan, sa insurance, bahala na sila. You will not get affected. Di ba? Ako ganun eh. Nung nababangga ako, I mean, okay. Sige, okay. Magkano ba yan? Sige. Kasalanan ko naman eh. Sige. Pero hindi ako. Para bang, bakit binangga mo ako? Bakit mo, bayaran mo ako yung damage po sa akin. Yan, ganun tayo eh. Masyado tayong, yung ownership natin na talagang kinikim-kim natin na para bang tayo ay mawawalan. Para bang pag nabawasan o nasira ay para bang nasaktan tayo. That's how I think why we should not anymore think like this. And we have to now be more open with our what we have. You can share it with whoever. Like ako, I would just distribute my books and then give it to them and then bahala sila kung anong gagawin nila doon. So, ganun ako. I mean, I don't try to keep them, no? So, ganyan ang buhay ko. So, basically, I do not own much of what I am having now. It's practically anyone who wants it can have it. All right. Number 8, an awakened species shares everything with everyone all the time. Yan. Yun ang sasabi ko. Everything you share. Humans in an awakened state often do not, only sharing with others in limited circumstances. Oy, hindi ka pwedeng nakiano rito sa pagkain ko kasi kulang na ito eh. Para sa akin. And samantalang, yun na nga, marami pala pero ayaw siya mag-share sa iba. Nakakatuwa nga yung mga ibang nakikita natin sa sa internet, no? Yung mga walang-wala na nga sila. Alam mo nang naghihirap sila para kumita lang ng konting pera. Pero yung konting kinikita nila, pinambibili pa nila ng pagkain para ibigay pa sa ibang tao. So nakikita natin na, wow, may mga ganitong tao. And that is what we are now supposed to become. That those kinds of people. Kaya nakikita naman natin to eh. Pag merong mga tragedy, nakikita natin yung mga ating mga kababayan, talagang they go out of their way to donate, to bring, to donate whatever, money, food, whatever they have in terms of what they can actually, not what other people can use. No? So nakikita naman natin, okay naman tayo dyan. Kaya lang, nakikita lang natin yan pag may trahedya. Pag meron nangyayaring malaking mga nangyayaring hindi maganda, mga baha or earthquake. Pero during ordinary times, ang sagot nga eh, anong palagay mo? Pasko pa rin? Yan ang sagot eh. Ano sa palagay mo? Araw-araw Pasko? Yan ang sagot ng iba. So may limitasyon. So yan ang sinasabi dito. You're not an awakened human being if you think that way. Alright, an awakened species creates a balance between technology and cosmology, between machines and nature. Humans in an unawakened state often do not. All right, I will repeat. Number 8. Number 9, an awakened species creates a balance between technology and cosmology, between machines and nature. Humans in an unawakened state often do not. Okay, kaya nga nagkagulo-gulo na nga ang ating mundo because, sinira natin ang kalikasan eh. Wala na yung balance between technology and cosmology. Because of technology, we wanted more. We destroyed a lot of our environment. And somehow, dyan nagkaroon ng imbalance. Nagkaroon na ngayon ng pagganti. Hindi naman pagganti, but the earth created, it wanted to balance again itself. And so, somehow, to be able to create that balance, na tayo. Na ang ating pagkatao. Kumbaga, sinuntok tayo na, tigilan ninyo yung ginagawa nyo. Sirang-sira na ako rito. Gano'n. And so, ngayon, ayaw pa rin natin makinig. Di ba? Ang tagal. Pinulyot natin ang tubig, ang hangin, ang tubig, lahat yan. Sinira natin, mga halaman, mga puno, pinagpuputol natin. Hanggang, eto na, nagkaroon ng imbalance. And so somehow, now the earth already moved to create that balance. And somehow, dito tayo ngayon. Ito na yung kinalalagyan natin. Bakit tayo nandito ngayon? Wala tayong magawa. We are forced to stay at home. Kasi nga, among all the animals, tayong pinaka-dangerous. All the wild animals are not destroying nature. They're all out there enjoying the wildlife, the environment. Ang tao lang ang talaga sumira ng kalikasan. Kaya tayo ngayon, we're forced now to be caged in our own homes. Yan na yung sa atin ng kalikasan. Sagot sa atin. An awakened species creates a balance between technology and cosmology, between machines and nature. Humans in an unawakened state often do that. All right, number 10. An awakened species would never under any circumstances terminate the current physical expression of another sentient being unless asked directly by that other being to do so. Humans in an unawakened state often kill other humans without the other human requesting them to. Alright, we're not supposed to kill anyone. Ha? I will repeat, para lang madinig niyo yung binasa ko. An awakened species would never, under any circumstances, terminate the current physical expression of another sentient being unless asked directly by that other being to do so. Humans in an unawakened state often kill other humans without that other human requesting them to. Diba? We actually go to war and we kill other people in the name of defending our country. Diba? We kill. Yung iba nga dati, we used to have these religious wars in the name of God pa. Kaya ay, mas ano pa yun, mas masakit. In the name of God, I will kill you. But yun nga, you're not supposed to kill anyone. You cannot kill anyone. Bakit tayo kailangan pumatay? Unless, ito nga sinasabi dito, if that other person would request, when would that person request? Like for example, if a person is really dying and suffering from cancer, na masakit na, he cannot endure it any longer. And somehow sabi niya, just pull off everything na nakakonect sa akin so I can go. Unless the person says that, you cannot actually let go of the plugs or there, yung mga nakakabit na connection doon. You cannot kill another person. You have to prolong the life of that person. Pero unless the person nga asks, pero somehow in other parts of the world that's not still allowed. Pero sa iba pwede na. Yung mercy killing, tawag doon, I forgot the name. Mercy killing ba tawag? Hindi mercy killing. I forgot that what it was called. Anyway, so yun. So we're not supposed to kill anyone. Tayo dito papatayin kita. Yun ang salita ng karamihan. Yan ang mga tulog. Alright. Okay, nasa na tayo? Number 11. Paspasalan natin to para an awakened species would never do anything that could potentially damage or harm the physical environment that supports the members of the species that they are physicalized. Humans in an unawakened state often do so. Again, ito na yan. An awakened species would never do anything that could potentially damage or harm the physical environment that supports the members of the species when they are physicalized. Humans in an unawakened state often do so. Well, ito nga madami tayong sinirang mga forests, mga loteng maraming puno para gawing parking lot. May mga nakatirang mga hayop dun, mga wildlife, wild animals, mga plants, mga trees. Alright. Okay, so yan yung mga bagay na kailangan nating madinig ngayon na we cannot actually destroy and kill for the sake of gagawin nating golf course. May mga ganyan dahil may gusto mag-create ng golf course puputulin lahat ng puno at yung mga halaman nandoon at yung mga meron nakatirang mga hayop doon, mga insects pati yan kailangan nilang mawala. Yan. So dapat hindi mangyari yon. Alright, so saan na tayo? Number 12. Ito na lang nga Okay, hindi lang sa mga di ba, kunyari, may mag-create ng dam. Kaya nga meron tayong mga indigenous tribes na nakatira doon, dahil doon sila nakatira na gusto idaan yung tubig, paaalisin sila doon. Dahil nga, kailangan daw yung lugar na yun para daanan ng tubig. Well, of course, kung minsan mayroong reason naman, talagang wala na sila makita ibang lugar. Pero, at whose expense? Yun na nga eh. Yun ang maraming nangyayaring ganyang bagay sa ating mga kapatid na nakatira sa mga lugar na yun, na nasira ang kanilang mga tahanan, mga villages nila, kanilang mga towns. At kailan na lang, napanood ko sa kay Jessica Soho last Sunday, may isang city or town, sa Bulacan yata ito, or wherever, I forgot saan to, or Nueva Ecija yata, na ginawang dam, na kung saan ay pinaalis sila doon, pinalipat, okay. Pero anong nangyari nga humupa yung tubig, lumabas uli yung city, nakakatakot, nakakaawang tignan dahil sira-sira na. Dati buong-buo sa mga building na underwater, tapos ngayon biglang lumabas mga sementeryo na napunta sa ilalim ng tubig because ginawang dam nga yung kwan. So ngayon biglang umangat. ang nakaka-shock tingnan niya. But anyway, dito na tayo. Tapusin natin lang ito para we can discuss this one by one in the future now. An awakened species is never, maganda ito. Number 12. An awakened species never poisons itself. Humans in an unawakened state often do so. What do you mean by an awakened species never poisons himself? What are these poisons? Una-una, nandiyan ang drugs. Sabihin mo, drugs, dapat huwag yan. Alcohol. Guilty ako dyan. Kasi, I take alcohol sometimes. May naman akong beer. Pero yun nga, that's actually poison. Because that's supposed to be destroying our system, our inner system, no? Alright, so ang tanong dyan is, ano ang dapat natin gawin? We should really refrain from using those things that are poisonous to us. Alright, so number 13, an awakened species never competes. Humans in an awakened state are often in competition with each other. Nandito natin nakita ang paano natin talaga sinisira ang buhay natin because we try to compete with everyone. We wanted to be the best. We wanted to be number one. We wanted to be better than the others. And so somehow, nagkasira-sira ang mga relasyon, nagkasira ang mga pagsasama because we created an unhealthy atmosphere because of that competition. Kailangan akong magwagi. Hindi pwedeng win-win. Kailangan win-lose. Yan. Alright. Number 14. An awakened species is clear that it needs nothing. Humans in an unawakened state often create a need-based experience. Ito kanina sinabi ko na ito in a way kasi halos related ito sa number 1 na sinabi ko na insufficiency. Ito sinabi, an awakened species is clear that it needs nothing. There is nothing that we need. Yes, we have wants, but then again, those wants are not really needs. We have desires, yes, we can have desires, why not? We can talk about that later on. Number 15, an awakened species experiences and expresses unconditional love for everyone. Humans in an unawakened state often cannot imagine even a deity who does this, much less do they do it themselves. Okay. An awakened species experiences and expresses unconditional love. God is unconditional love. But sometimes we don't look at God having unconditional love. We think that God actually does not love us. Or God would only love us if we do something good. Unconditional, regardless of whether you're doing something good or not. God would love you unconditionally. So if you are a highly evolved being, you will love unconditionally. Alright, sige, tapusin na natin to para sa susunod, we will just discuss this one by one. Kasi kailangan ma-discuss to lengthily. Binigyan ko lang kayo ng idea as to what this is all about. Kasi ito nakakashock nga talaga na this is what we are doing. That's why we came up already with this kind of a situation na tumigil lahat. Alright, the last one, number 16 sa CWG book. An awakened species has harnessed the power of metaphysics. Humans in an unawakened state often largely ignore it. Alright, this is what I talk about always in Kamalayan. I talk about metaphysics, beyond physics, na hindi matanggap-tanggap ng mga eskwelahan. Dahil daw metaphysics is not accepted, is not proven, and somehow parang cannot be taught in schools. So yan ang mga 16 na characteristics ng highly evolved beings or ng awakened species that we have to become. We have to be awakened now. Kailangan na natin magising. So yung nakarinig sa akin ngayon, eto na. Ating iisa-isahin yan on Sunday, no? Next week, next video natin, I will discuss those things. And somehow, ito yung mga bagay na aking isa-isahin. Alright, so, okay, euthanasia. Ayun, sabi ni Dr. Arlie, euthanasia is when you actually kill because parang hinihiling na mismo nung tao na ma-end na yung suffering niya at yun na, tanggalin na lahat ng mga life support systems sa kanyang katawan. And that's what we do, euthanasia. And Hill Sabado is saying, hi sir, hello Hill. Oh, I'm using the laptop already, so ito na, tuloy-tuloy na tayo dito. So, thank you very much. At ito na nga, sa mga nanood, sino pa ba mga nanood sa atin ngayon? Konti lang yung mga nag-like ngayon sa ano natin. Ewan ko bakit ko konti. Dati kadalasan pag nagla-live ako, ang dami-daming nagla-like. Ito ko, pag laptop, hindi ko alam bakit ko konti. Pero, nandito naman lahat. So, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone like Riza, Lina Malay from Davao, Nicolas Rayos, Ronnie Del Barrio, Veronica Garcia, ang Dr. Arlie Imperio, Jackie Cochotti, and Maris Ukiko, and sino pa? Ayan. Ito lang ang mga aking nababasa rito. So with that, I'd like to say maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama sa aking ngayon. I hope I had given you an idea as to the answer to the question, why are we now here in this particular situation? Why are we now where we are? Or why are we where we are now? Hindi ko matandaan yung exact wording doon. But it's just that. Why are we where we are now? Because we had been sleeping. Tulog tayo. And so now I shared with you the characteristics of how an awakened person is like. And so, unti-unti yan. So, we will now discuss everyone in the future as to how to be awakened. In those 16, with those 16 characteristics. Isa-isahin natin yan. Magandang pag-usapan yan. So, maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama sa aking klase ngayon sa pag-attend. So, thank you and magandang kamalayan sa inyong lahat. Till next Sunday. This is Tato Malay saying magandang kamalayan.